Hello, you're welcome to the second part of my series of videos on time value of money. In the first video, we did look at the future value of a dollar. So remember, we did look at in part one, we were focusing on the future value of a dollar. In this part, I'm going to focus on the present value of a dollar. And remember what I said is there's so many ways we can solve the future value and the present value of problems. We can use Excel, we can use uh, financial tables, we can use financial calculator, and we can also use the formula. And I'm going to try to address some of these methods on present value. So again, the best way to approach this problem is always to draw the timeline, and because here we are looking at the present value of a single amount, so what we are trying to address here is you're going to be given the rate. You're going to be given the rate. You're going to be given the number of periods, and you're going to be given the future value. So the future value will be given to you. So the future value is given. You'll be given the rate, and you'll be given the number of periods. In this case is 3. So your n is given to you as 3 years, and the rate is given to you as, in this example, let's assume this is 4%. So the rate will be given to you, let's assume for this case, is 4%. So that is given. What we are missing, of course, ignore the cash flow. We're only looking at the future value which is given, and what we are trying to determine, of course, is the value of that future value in today's dollars. How much uh, is that future value in today's dollars? That's the question we're trying to address here. Again, you could use the financial calculator, and to do so, for example, using the same problem, if you have to use a financial calculator, then of course you're going to use the time value keys, which again you have a future value key, you have a payment key, the present value key, you have the rate key, and you have the number of periods. So your inputs are going to be, in this example, talk about 3 years. So if compound again is done on a yearly basis, then you're talking about 3 years. So it will be 3 years. That will be your n, and your I will be 4%, and the payment, again, we're assuming there's no payment in between. So your payment here is 0, your payment here is 0. So you only have a future payment, which in this example, for example, the future payment is 100. So if your future value is 100, what's the value of $100 3 years from today in in today's time? So how much is that $100 today? So given that your future value is 100, your payment is 0, your rate is 4%, and the number of periods are 3, then of course again use the CPT key depending on the type of calculator that you're using. Compute then of course your present value, and you should have an answer given to you, which in this case is going to be 88 and 90 cents. In other words, we are saying the value of $100 from today is 88.90 today. This is the value of $100 to be received 3 years from today. That value today is 88.90 cents. If that amount again could be invested at 4% per year for 3 years. So in other words, if you invest $88.90 today at 4% for 3 years, in future that amount will grow to $100. And if you have to wait for $100 in the future, then the value of that amount today is 88.90. If you want to look at the other methods, and that is, using the spreadsheet, what again you'll do is you just go to use the formula and insert this in the one of the cell, uh, equal to the present value, and your rate again is 4%, and the number of periods is 3. Your PMT again is 0, and your future value, in this case, you're going to insert the 100, and then of course your type again, we're assuming this is done at the end of the year, so by default this is going to be 0, and we're going to see where the type, the type comes into play when we are looking at annuities. So for this case is 0, and then of course that should give you again the same value of 88 and 90, or something close to 88.90, depending on the rounding effect, but it could be close to the $88.90 as the present value. If you want to use the formula, then we could reduce this from our future value formula. Remember what we said with the future value, we said the future value is equals to the present value into 1 plus I raised to a power of n. So in this case, we are not looking at the future value, we are trying to determine the present value. So what we do again, this is the same thing saying you could just divide both sides by 1 plus I raised to n, 1 plus I raised to n, and this is the same thing saying that the present value is equal to the future value divided by 1 plus I raised to n if you want to use the formula to determine the present value. So, and this is the same thing saying the future value is the present value is equal to the future value times the inverse, and that is plus 1 plus I raised to n. That will be the same thing. So this expression is the same way expressing that way. So you could just insert again. In this case, we know that the future value is 100. So you take 100 times uh, or divide this with 1 plus I is 4%, so that'll be 0.004. Raise this to n, and our n is 3. And again, if we finish up this computation, that should take you again to an estimate or close to be 88 and 90 cents as the present value of $100 to be received in 3 years time at 4% per year at a rate where the number of periods again is 3 years. If you use the table, the financial tables, then again, what the table is going to give you is this expression. So in your table, the table will give you, so if you locate a table of where n is 3 and I is 4%, so in the table again is something like this. So your number of periods is 3 and your rate is 4. Again, if you go to a present value table, the factor in that table, the table factor, is going to be that expression. 1 divided by 1.04 raised to 3 will be what the table will be giving you. You take that value, multiply it with a future value, and that will give you again the present value. So either method again will give you either an exact answer or an approximate answer. It just depends on what your book that you're using is trying to emphasize on, because some books will emphasize on tables, and therefore you try to stick to using the table factors. Those that tend to focus on financial calculator, then of course you have to use that particular method. So this concludes our presentation on the future value of a single amount. In the next series, or the third part of this series, I'm going to try to look at how we can compute other variables, and that is the I, or the rate, or the PMT. Again, we're going to see this either again using the calculator or again using the Excel and so on. So look forward for the next set of video which will address on how to compute I, or how to compute N, or their payments. So see you in the next video.